Chelsea are heading to Paris for a massive Champions League test against PSG, and this is exactly the type of game that tells us where this team really is. It's not like I really need to know, but you know, I don't need the confirmation, but it will tell us whether we can really do something in Europe or not. PSG have a ridiculous attacking talent. Chelsea are also improving on the Liam Rossinier, and tactically, this game could be fascinating. In this preview, we're going to look at key tactical battles, the players who could decide the game, and the predicted Chelsea lineup for this huge European night. Because if Chelsea get this right, we could actually, shock people again. Shock them again. Look, I don't necessarily think PSG is on some great form, and it's not the same as when we went and played them in the Club World Cup final, but at the same time, this could still be big because a lot of people look at us like, they look at, you struggled against Wrexham, you can't do anything against PSG. That's the kind of thing. So, yeah, listen, before I really get into it as well, make sure you're liking, make sure you're subscribing, do you know what I mean? And hype the video, like the video, drop your comments, in the comments. I really want to interact with you guys, so make sure you keep dropping your comments. Let me know your score predictions, everything. Just drop it in the comments. I look at every single comment. So let's actually get into it. So Chelsea. Obviously the draw came out, so obviously we got PSG away. So the good thing is that the second leg's actually at Stamford Bridge. So obviously we got the first leg now in Paris. Who do I think is going to be their most dangerous player? Let's just start at PSG. So if I go and look at PSG's current, or let's just say recent form, and show you that, guys, this on the screen. PSG obviously is top of the league in Ligue 1, you know what I mean? And they've won 3 out of their 5 games, drawn against I think they beat Monaco and then drew against them. Well, but they also had to play that playoff thing, innit? So they haven't really been the greatest. Now, their lineup. Let's look at their squad. Can we get like a lineup? No, we're not gonna get a lineup. So you got the lineup on this side. Look, like I said, even if I end up going back and comparing it to the Chelsea, Chelsea's form, we haven't necessarily been on the greatest form either. Do you know what I mean? Now, we have beaten Wrexham, which took a lot of struggle. The Aston Villa win was actually a very good win. Arsenal, that's a different story. The Arsenal one was a different story. We played well, but didn't really create enough chances or even take our chances. And even if things went our way, we should have won that game. Burnley is one of the disappointing games, and obviously you have Hull in between that we've also beaten. And yeah, I think we qualified 6th, if I'm not mistaken. I think we were 6th in the Champions League standings, or in the league phase. Obviously, a lot of people want to beat PSG again, so we can show that it's not necessarily, it's not a fluke. And yeah, obviously we're currently 5th on the in the table. We're playing Newcastle next. That's going to be our game in between the next leg of this game. Now let's focus on this game. Our last lineup that we had was, obviously, I think this is I think this was the Premier League lineup. And I actually think we will go with a similar lineup. I think if we actually start delving into the game and talk about lineups, let me get the lineup thing out. Actually, before we get into the whole lineup stuff, I wanted to speak about the key tactical points. So what I mean by that is the things that we need to look out for when we speak about PSG, and also at the same time what we need to do on the pitch. So PSG's they have their team's an amazing team, and obviously they got the danger in midfield. Obviously, I think there is some news that João Gomez might not be available for this game, but in general, what I'm talking about is more the threat they have on the wings, and you can't ignore Vitinha in midfield. You know what I'm saying? You can't ignore a Vitinha in midfield. Obviously, João Gomez is not there, but that's someone else that is a threat in that midfield. For me, obviously, I think they've been in the last game they played Zaire Emery and Dro in midfield. But this is what I was trying to get to. I think this team is actually gettable. Do you know what I mean? Marquinhos is, I think he's 31 now, close to his twilight of his career. Fabian Ruiz is injured. And obviously, João Neves is... Oh, sorry, I said João Gomez a couple of times. João Neves is also injured in midfield. So, they're missing two of their most important midfielders. We know that they have like a Renato Sanchez, Zaire Emery, Mayulu's a danger as well, who can play in midfield, striker, left wing, left mid. Like, there's all these dangers and players that they have in that team. But is like... Obviously, like I said, I'm talking about especially the attackers. It's more the dangers the attackers what the attackers can do. And if you balance that with how shaky we are sometimes and unpredictable we are defensively, it's not a good pairing. You know what I'm saying? It literally goes hand in hand. A great attack with a shaky defense. But sometimes in one-off games we do things that are great, or we play really well, and all of a sudden it's all up to our attackers. So I think a great team usually builds from the defense onwards. So as long as you're playing really well defensively, everything else can come after that. So so obviously our striker João Pedro's in form. Cole Palmer looks like he's slowly getting there. I know he had some dips here and there. Even after looking really good, he's kind of gone down a little bit, but he's had his moment. I think against Aston Villa, he showed some of his, even though I don't think he was great in the first half, but second half he kind of improved. But yeah, going back into it, I think Kvaratskhelia and even like a Barcola are two players that we really need to look out for, because PSG love building out of the back, and then they thrive when they get space in transition. So we need to make sure that we stop them as early as we can. And I think what can help us in that is not just having a Caicedo midfield and a Reece James in midfield, because when we do get the ball, someone like a Reece James can ping the ball out wide and try to catch those fullbacks out as well when they go higher up to try press, whether it's our wingers or even sometimes double up on your fullbacks to try, press your fullbacks into make a mistake. So pressing catch your fullback out so they can create overloads as well. Like I said, it's more of a wide area battle. And if you remember the Club World Cup game, is when we got the ball, we just pinged it straight out. Tried to ping it just in behind their fullback and tried to catch them pressing high. But the main point, one of the things I do want to ask you guys is, do Chelsea press high, or do we sit and play sit and be more compact and then hit them on the counter? Would that be what you guys think we should do? Or yeah, that's when it comes to their attack. I don't think it's not just like a Kvaratskhelia and a Barcola. Obviously you got a Dembele up front. Sometimes they even play what's his name again? That brother, the very hot and cold striker, bro, Goncalo Ramos. That's it. They can play him up front. So they have all that. Obviously, I think, like I said, it's more for me. I'm looking more at their wide areas, because our fullbacks are going to be facing 1v1 situations all night, especially against the quick wingers. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's Dembele on the right, and we know that they're quite fluid, so they can move a Kvaratskhelia to the right, Doué on the left if he comes off the bench, and whoever starts. So that's some of the things that we need to be dealing with. And look, I trust Reece James the most, obviously, when it comes to fullbacks. Cucurella is also someone who I think could do a great job. Obviously, he's back from his injury. He had the minutes against I think he had minutes against Villa, if I'm not mistaken, but also had minutes against Wrexham. So that's really good for us. And yeah, so are we going to end up doubling up defensively? Obviously the midfielders need to track their runners as well. And then another question then comes up is, if we lose control on the wings, can PSG actually start creating chaos? I think those are the things I really think of that I'm really thinking about. But then it's not always for me about what do we do going forward. Obviously, you press from the front, but if we're solid defensively, this is where it comes down to, people. This is where it comes down to how good are we going to be on the night when it comes to defensively? Because if we have our, you know, if we played the way we played in some of the big games where we were so good defensively, a lot of the times we won the game. Do you know what I mean? And then we can also not, because sometimes we can play amazingly and just a defensive mistake or an error or lack of concentration of someone falling asleep at the back post. These are quick switched on wingers. You can't do these things and lose games, but and lose out in the game. So yeah, and I said this earlier, PSG push their fullbacks high and that leaves space behind their defense, which Chelsea can attack. And that's something that we always go back to when it comes to the Club World Cup game. The space that we found in behind, whether it was Pedro Neto, whether it was Cole Palmer on the right-hand side, whether it was Gusto pushing up high, trying to be in behind, and then Palmer following up behind him. So is this manager going to look at that game and try to replicate it? And I think that's one of my main question marks as well on this game, because, the more I think about this, and the more I look at, obviously, a lot of people will say Liam Rosenius played against PSG and beat them when he was at Strasbourg. He knows a lot about this team. And that could actually be something that works in our favour. But at the same time, obviously, he's got a better team than he has at Strasbourg. But is he actually going to try to go for this? Or is he going to gamble and say, can we stay in this game, just minimum a draw, and then we can just take it to Stamford Bridge? But, like I said, I just don't like gambling. I just don't like gambling. If you can get a good result, especially a win at Parc de France, and then come to Stamford Bridge where you're a bit more, you have that cushion in case you make any mistakes, and then you can make sure that you have the crowd behind you to win the game. That sounds a bit more the right way to do it, if there is even a right way. But as long as this gamble pays off, whatever the way you want to take it, then obviously it's better when it comes to the second leg. But and let's not look too much into the second leg. But yeah, the main question I have for the people watching: do Chelsea go to Paris and play brave, or sit back and counter? I think that's the main one for me. And yeah, I think we need to look out for the thing, and obviously the PSG midfield as well. PSG often dominate possession through midfield. I said that as well earlier with Vitinha. His shots from outside of the box are quite dangerous. The way he controls the tempo, the way he progresses the ball, the way he breaks the line with his passes, bro. Like, those are things that if we can get control of the midfield, we can cause them much more problems. And they have looked shaky in recent times as well. Whether it's the Monaco game and stuff like that, where they have conceded early or where they have conceded and, haven't really done how good they were. Like, they haven't really showed us how good they were last season. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, let me get into the Chelsea lineup. Let me show you guys the lineup. This is obviously when you choose the club here on the left-hand side, it automatically pre-fills the lineup or shows you the lineup from a previous game. Now, sometimes I've already taken out Hato and put Cucurella there. I think that's going to be someone that is fit now, and we see back. The one question, one of the two the two question marks that I have on this team that I have here right now is the manager gonna go back to Jurgens? Is he gonna stick with Jurgens? And is that his guy now after the Villa game? Because you feel like he's kind of just pulled the rug on the Sanchez? Or did he play him just to, you know how they do at Chelsea, you know, we have to remind the whole world, the football world, that Jurgensen still exists, and you know, just for future value, you know, I mean, just to plant that seed in other clubs' mind, just in case you're looking at a goalkeeper, we have someone over here. But look, with his feet, and that could be something that could really help us. I think the passing ability that he showed in that Villa game, I was so comfortable watching him with the ball at his feet, and he was so comfortable, and it's his shot stopping that really gives me that. It's like he's like when you switch on and switch off a hologram. That's exactly what it is. You don't know, like, it's just buzzing. He's there, then he's not there. He's there, like, you don't know if he's gonna make a save, is the ball gonna go through him. The things that you're not really worried about with Sanchez is the things that he doesn't have. So like Sanchez, the ball at his feet, or when the ball's at his feet for too long, all of a sudden, or even when he can't even make like simple passes as a goalkeeper, that's what it feels like. But you know, he can give you some amazing saves during the game. But then you also have that Sanchez that you look at and think, how did you not make that save? You've just made some amazing saves in the last 10 games, but then you've suddenly not able to make this save. So seeing who he puts in goalkeeper is going to be the biggest indication, because I'm going back to Sanchez, and I'm only putting Sanchez in for like his reliability when it comes to shot stopping. And I'm not saying he's amazing. We've seen him more than we've seen Jurgensen. I've only seen one game of Jurgensen. In terms of in recent times, I think we've seen him play against Charlton or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But I'll just keep sticking with Sanchez on this occasion. If he plays Jurgensen, I wouldn't be surprised, and it wouldn't be something that I'm really worried about. I think going to the back line now, obviously you got Gusto. I think Gusto playing right back would be much better, and obviously if we need to, we can actually get James to fill in to double up on Kvaratskhelia or whoever ends up being on that left wing on the in that game. And then he can also, if we do hit them on the counter, we can then get James to spread those passes out wide. Do you know what I'm saying? I think that's going to be key. Moving the ball quick before the PSG players can get into their positions. I think that is key. Yeah, I repeat, that is key. I'm saying that is key. Caicedo, easy peasy. Of course, he has to be in that team. We're going to need him. And then I don't know why I went up this way, but obviously Fofana is probably going to be back in the team. But Chalobah, I think he's probably been one of our most consistent defenders, and that says a lot. But listen, so far he's been a good servant. Do you know what I'm saying? Especially this season, he had his moments, but I've always said it's important who you put next to. That's something that we've been lacking in recent time. You can't be putting you can't put Chalobah alongside any of the other defenders. You need the Fofana to put, and I think Chalobah's the most reliable to put next to Fofana. And Fofana needs to step up quick as well. I think his form hasn't been great. Obviously, he got sent off against Burnley, if I'm not mistaken, and kind of lost us the game from that point onward. He's been away because obviously he didn't play against Villa, if I'm not mistaken. So he's back into the team. Sarr is going to be someone that's going to be on the bench. I don't think the manager will play him anytime soon, but he's someone that we want to see more consistently. Like I said, Cucurella's back into the lineup. I've already spoken about the two pivots, and obviously I think let's say if James gets tired or if Gusto's unreliable again, he can move James at right back, bring in Andre Santos. Obviously Asugo's had some minutes as well recently. I don't think he'll be thrown into the team as quick, but he's someone that looks like they can do a job in midfield as well. And obviously Lavia, even though he had probably one of his worst games that I've seen, especially with his passing, and losing the ball as consistently as he did in that game against Wrexham, that could actually get you punished. So yeah, now right wing, stick to Palmer. Obviously there's no Esteval, so I'm just going to keep Palmer there. Fernandez, even if I thought not to put him in the lineup, I think he's probably going to be in the lineup, and he could still cause danger going forward. So, and I think these three have been playing well together in the team, and I think João Pedro's benefited a lot from these two in behind. He's allowed him to have a more specific role, if you want to call it. So I'd keep him in the team. Now, left wing. Left wing, this is the problem. Now, for me, Neto hasn't really been great. Obviously, Gittins is injured, so we can't put Gittins in the lineup. I think we will see Pedro Neto. Even though he's played a lot of minutes the other day, I think obviously Garnacho didn't play. I mean, he played most of the game too. But I think we'll see Neto back into the lineup. I think his pace and stuff can cause problems, but he has to release the ball early. You know, I'd take Neto over 4.9 Garnacho and at any time, because Neto can on his day still do something, whereas with Garnacho you're reaching, like you're heavily reaching. You know what I'm saying? Putting Garnacho against Hakimi, you might as well just have no one there. You know, if I had Estevao, I'd probably even put Enzo left wing, Palmer in the 10, and Estevao on the right, or even Estevao on the left. If I was that desperate, if I wanted to keep this lineup, I just put Estevao on the left. But obviously, we don't have him available, so this is my lineup. Obviously, I did João Pedro. I don't need to explain anything when it comes to João Pedro. He's been, I think, for the whole season, he's got 21 goals, 14 in the league. I think 11. I think is it 11 GA. 11 goals, 1 assist in the last 12 games, or 11 games. Like, he's been on fire. Do you know what I mean? And hopefully this is not just a purple patch. Hopefully this is the levels he's showing at my club, and we can see more of him like this, like I said. So let me know if you change anything in the lineup. Like I said, drop a comment, let me know. And yeah, this is my predicted lineup. Now obviously now we got to go to the bit that I don't really want to go. The prediction. So if let's go back now, because for me the prediction is actually a good one, innit? I like the PSG. I'm torn, because people always ask me like, why are you not confident? Are you confident or not? And yeah, I think the only reason I'm torn is because I don't know what Chelsea I'm getting on the day, right? If I get the if I get the Chelsea against PSG, I'll tell you 3-0. You know, easily 3-0, whether it's Parc de France, whether it's Stamford Bridge, 3-0. But when you're starting to look at like, if you're starting to look at like, you know, some current form, if you can see I would just stick to a simple 2-1. Now, a lot of the times people say if you say 2-1, then you know it's just because you're scared to be have your chest on it. No, I'm sticking to a 2-1 because I know there's a big chance of us conceding. So for me to just say 2-0, I don't necessarily believe that, to come out here and also say that. So I know we'll concede, but I think it's a mixture of hope and also belief. I think we can get a 2-1 win at PSG. I've already seen some PSG fans, especially after the Monaco game, that had no confidence and all that kind of stuff. There's also some other people that were saying, oh, don't worry, Chelsea's so bad, we'll beat them. So, like I said, we'll see. It's going to be a great game. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, I think it's going to be a great game. So, let me know. And make sure you're looking out for all the match reactions that I drop. Some content with other content creators, whether it's match previews, whether it's the whole that show. We'll probably bring it back after Eid, and all these other things that I'm dropping, the shorts, the reaction to the lineups, the short match reactions, the long form ones. We have obviously the shows with the football chat and chill show. That thing where it's a lot more interactive. Well, all my shows are interactive anyway, but that one's literally just bouncing off the chat. So if you like these things, just make sure you subscribe to the channel. Become a member if you want to be a member. That's another thing that we've added to the channel as well. And yeah, listen, I appreciate everyone that's watched this. If you watched it all the way to here, like I said, make sure you like and subscribing. And listen, pray that my centre backs don't make any mistakes. I'm my goalkeeper. Pray for my team to turn up. That's where I'm at, bro. That's where I'm at. Like I said, thank you if you watched it up to here, man. I appreciate all of you. And yeah, listen, let's see what happens. European nights. Make sure Chelsea get the W and don't get sent off. I said this against the Arsenal game and Neto got sent off. Don't get sent off. Don't get a red card. We don't need this right now. This is a message to the club, to the players. Do not get sent off. Don't get a red card. Just go there, get the job done, win the game, and bring it to Stamford Bridge so we can just finish them off 2-3, whatever it is. I just want to get past this PSG team. Just to show everyone that it wasn't a fluke. Let's just win it. Do you know what I mean? Let's just win it. And because then after that, especially when you beat teams like PSG and stuff, you can start believing a bit more to say, you know what? I think we can win this Champions League. You know what I mean? If I can get another one of these, you know, behind me, listen, I don't care. I'll put another one on the table. I got space. I got space somewhere. I'll put it on the table. You look, I got space. I got space right here. I'll put another Champions League on this table. So, like I said, man, I appreciate all of you watching. And yeah, I'm out. We need to win. Up the Chelsea.